Hey everybody, welcome to our dinner bell. Well, let's start with a glass of 100% Sangiovese from my dear friends from under the Tuscan sun. With that said, today it's all about a risotto. We're gonna cook risotto from start to finish. We're gonna talk about the do's and the don'ts and the whys and the won'ts. Because risotto is an art. It truly is. Any kind of pasta or grain when you cook, you gotta know those little shortcuts and also those details. And I'm all about sharing the whys with you and not just telling you the hows. The hows you can download as many recipes as you want off of many various websites. But when I teach you the whys, or when you ask me the whys and I answer them for you, then you become a recipe creator and you're no longer a recipe follower. I want you to create your own recipes with the fundamentals. So let's start. This risotto is a beautiful fall and winter risotto because it's an exotic mushroom risotto. Why we call it an exotic mushroom? Basically mushrooms that are different than the mushrooms that we are usually used to. The mushroom that we are used to is a white mushroom. We call it the button when they're tiny, medium size, and then the large button, the white mushrooms. We're also going to use a cremini. Cremini is the child or the newborn of this little one here called portobellos. That's basically the difference. Meaty in texture, very lower water content. That's why you feel the meatiness in there. Mushrooms are about 80% water content. That's why some of them, when you cook them, they just disappear. Little by little, they disintegrate and there's no more water left. Then we're also gonna use some shiitake. Shiitake is this Japanese mushroom that is woody and it's got a smoky flavor, but very low water content. That's why these stems gotta get cut off and cannot be utilized. They are very woody. They're phenomenal for making a mushroom broth. So when we come back, what we're gonna do, we're gonna start the cooking process. We're gonna do the sofrito. Many various cultures have sofrito. We're gonna do our sofrito for our risotto with shallots. The aromatic in this segment and this show is gonna be thyme and the arborio rice that we're going to talk about. There are various rice for risotto, violina being one, arborio being another, but arborio is what we mainly use in this market. So get a cup of coffee, think about me while you're pouring the coffee, and come back so we can start cooking together and go to Flavor Town together. I'll see you when you come back. From me. Welcome back everybody. Risotto, right? That's what we're cooking. Exotic mushroom risotto. Remember, anytime you want to paint, you receive and you buy or you purchase a white canvas. That's what risotto is. It's a white canvas. It is up to you to paint it with whatever color you wish. I have decided to give it a beautiful, robust flavor of various mushrooms. We are going to start with a portobello because I want to show you this. I've shown you this in other segments and other shows. We're going to peel our portobello. We're going to grab this piece here and look what's going to happen. You're going to pull back and you're going to peel the portobello. Why do we peel a portobello? It has no more protective tissue and skin on it, so flavors penetrate and releases its water evenly. Another thing that we're gonna do is very rarely do you get the right color in a mushroom risotto. I like that dark caramelized color which you usually get from caramelization, but not too much of it because we have another one here that I'm gonna use. So it is important to take this, take out the stem and shave the gill. You don't want to save those gills. Those gills are very potent and very, very, very dark in color. So right here, we move this away a little bit, and look how you're gonna cut this. If you try to do this, you cut them, you break a mushroom. You're gonna keep all these pieces together, and look what I'm doing. I diced it. The other one, we're gonna leave it in strips. Why? Because it's all about texture, and it's all about topography on your plate. So make sure that you do that. Play with people's mind when it comes to food. Tease them. Let them ask you what it is. With those questions, the whys are asked, and then you're gonna answer, and everybody's gonna get in love with not only your food, with food in general. Hey, we have different kind of pushers in life. I'm a pusher of flavor, so I love to share those whys with you. You're gonna do the same here. You're gonna take out the gills. Now, we're gonna just leave it strips, remove, and put on this side. Now we're gonna take the creminis, take the stems. These stems don't go anywhere. Now the skin on the cremini does not need to be removed because it's very, very thin. Then we're gonna take a white, and we're gonna do the same with the stem. Slice. These can be together. Let's get to the shiitakes. You cannot cut these with your hand because then it's gonna be very difficult and you're gonna break the mushroom. So just keep the stems and hold it with your finger and cut. Put as much mushroom as you want. Don't put too little, because then why are you calling it a mushroom risotto if you can't even taste it? You know what else you could do here? If you had your hand on some dry mushrooms, which about 80% of the production of mushrooms are dehydrated and dry because they are a fungi and they start molding very fast. So you get some dry and you have a coffee grinder, and you put it in that coffee grinder and you grind it into a pulp, into a beautiful powder, and you start your sofrito with that powder. And people take a bite and you go, wow, what was that? And it's gonna be an explosion of mushroom. And if you have some left over, you dust your chicken breast the next time, and you call it a mushroom crusted breast of chicken. You love me, don't you? And we have all the shiitakes that go right here. And we're gonna do a few more shiitakes, and we're gonna dice them like the first ones that we started. Why? Because I want those to cook fast first and give us that intense flavor. Let's have the dice together. I have some chopped garlic. Now, come with me, let's start the cooking process, shall we? The cooking process is right here, the pan. Notice that I have a broth that has been boiling, and then I reduce it to a simmer. And you can see right now that it's steamy. That steam is crucial. You never, ever, ever cook a risotto with a cold broth. Otherwise, that's when you get a gummy risotto. So it is crucial to bring your broth to a boil, reduce it to a simmer. And what we're going to do right now is I turn down my heat a little bit, and we're going to start with our sofrito. We're going to take the butter, and we're going to put 2 cubes of butter. That's all you really need. And look at that. 1, 2, 3 of extra virgin olive oil. Bring your pan here. And we're gonna add the mushrooms. The ones that are just diced. Reduce the temperature and let the mushroom do its thing. What do I mean by that? With the help of a little bit of salt, we're going to pull out the water content of the mushroom. Meanwhile, I have time to clean my board a little bit and slice some shallots for you. That sofrito that I talked to you about is shallots, garlic, and thyme in this case. A lot of times we just use onion and garlic. Shallots. The nature has done the work for you. For any alien ingredient, that means from the alien family, the nature has done the work for you. So when you cut it in half, and look at this, you just cut it in half moons. When you get to the end, drop it. Don't worry about if it's going to be the same shape or not. The main concern is that you don't cut yourself. And again, in this case, I want that beautiful natural sweetness of shallots. So let's do 2 of them at least. And by now, my mushroom has warmed up. It's releasing its water content, and that extra water is gonna work as an anti-burning insurance policy for my shallots and my garlic. I am gonna finish cutting my shallots. When we come back, my mushrooms have cooked to the right consistency and they have released their water content. Then I'm gonna add the shallots, the garlic, and the thyme, and start the sofrito, and you're gonna see something that you haven't seen before when it comes to cooking risotto. So I'll see you when you come back. What else do you want from me? It's time for flavor. You get it? It's time. We have some beautiful thyme. And the thyme here, remember, thyme is one of those herbs that has a medicine-y flavor when it's overused. But when it's used in right balance, it is absolutely amazing. There is nothing that can take the place of fresh herbs in your cooking. Do not think the same is gonna happen when you use dry herbs, because it's not. Anything that is dehydrated, it is much more robust and medicine-y. For example, dry basil. It doesn't even taste like basil, so I don't know why we use it. I know why we use dry herbs, because we think if you buy the fresh, it's gonna go to waste. Freeze it after you're done. It is not gonna keep texture exactly the same as the fresh, but the flavor and the water content is always gonna be the same. So that's gonna be a huge, huge difference between that and the dry. And look at the dry herbs that you buy. Pretty expensive. Measure and see how much they're charging you per ounce. Anyway, here's my thyme, and thyme and mushrooms are absolutely amazing together. So I'm going to chop these thyme. Wow, absolutely amazing. So come with me quickly. Now, we're going to turn off the heat. We're going to bring all the shallots. Look at the mushrooms. Look at the mushrooms. They're beautiful and golden. We're going to add all the shallots in here. And we're going to put a couple of small little teaspoons of garlic. We do not want the garlic to overpower. Let it... Somebody just slapped me with flavor. Oh my God, what just happened? It's amazing what heat does. That's all what cooking is all about. Using a vessel, such as a pan, heating it up, and transferring that heat into a raw ingredient and creating a dining experience. That's what cooking is all about. So, after the shallots, we're gonna go with the aromatics. Use your knife as a spatula, bring it in there, and a quick toss. This is a step that I told you you have never seen before. I'm sure some of you have, but just act like you haven't, okay? Now, what it is the rice that we're going to toast. In risotto making, you always toast your rice in a pan, dry, without any liquid. So the rice is gonna go in there. And to make sure that there is sufficient amount of oil to coat every grain, we're going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil on that grain, and we're gonna toss. What are you doing here? You're creating a nutty flavor out of that grain instead of a starchy, gummy flavor. That is a huge difference. And by doing so and coating every grain with a little bit of oil, you're stopping the penetration of liquid too soon and too fast, and the starch leaving the grain too fast. So it balances the cooking process. That's why it is important. I wish all of you were with me here. You would see, we call these ribbons of starch that are beginning to release itself little by little. So it's an indication what? Now it is time for the next step. There is a magnificent saying in Italian that every rice is born in wine, but it must drown in wine. It's born in water, but it must drown in wine. That's what we're going to do. We're going to drown this grain in wine. We're going to use this beautiful Pinot Grigio. And what we're going to do is, anytime I say dry wine, Pinot Grigio is a great choice. We're going to create a small little well in the middle of this pan by moving the rice out and creating the pan surface ready for the addition. Why? Because I want this to come to the right temperature immediately. Just a little bit, not much. How many facials have I shown you, for God's sake? You add enough liquid or wine so that you have time to go and scrape all those beautiful starch and natural caramelization of the shallots and whatever other ingredient you have in here. Next, we're gonna take half of our fresh Italian parsley and we're gonna place it in there. Why only half? Because the other half is gonna be added the last few steps or few minutes that we have. And that step we're gonna talk about in a moment. Whether you feel like having a cup of coffee or you have been mesmerized by these wines and you're gonna start drinking really early in the morning, either way, go get yourself a glass. Because we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna keep on cooking. I'll see you when you come back. Wine, coffee, I love you anywhere. Who cares? See you. What else do you want from me? Welcome back, everybody. We are here cutting the last piece of mushroom before we start adding the mushrooms back into the risotto pan. The risotto pan that we decided to do was an exotic mushroom risotto. It is started cooking, and at the beginning when you start cooking risotto, it is very thirsty. Whatever liquid you give it, it will absorb. But there is a reason that we say do not add too much liquid at once, because you never know what stage that is that the risotto, it's done absorbing and it's going to get mushy and overcooked for you. So add 1 cup at a time. This has been 4 cups of liquid have been added already, and our risotto is still al dente. Do you remember I told you mushrooms are full of water? So guess what's going to happen? We're going to take these beautiful raw sliced mushrooms of the shiitake, cremini, and the portobellos. Now we're going to go to the risotto pan and we're going to slide them in there. This spatula, or any spatula, is the extension of the tips of your finger. So use this. Go to Superior with my friends and ask Sandy to show you where are the heat resistant spatula. Certainly worth it, absolutely worth it. And they're not much at all. You have 3 different sizes. You have this, which is the small one, you have the medium, and then you have the large. I think this small one or the medium is great for home application. Look what's gonna happen. We added the mushrooms, and look how much mushrooms. By the time you're done cooking, you're gonna see the mushrooms are going to start wilting. Why? Because they're gonna be releasing their water content. I'm gonna turn up the heat again and add a couple of more ladles of liquid. There is no better taste than a cooked risotto that is done perfectly. At the same time, there's no better test than your palate and your teeth. And that's why you call it pasta or a risotto al dente. That means crunchy to the tooth. And now you can see we're getting closer. My broth is getting starchier, and you're getting sleepier, and I'm sleepier, and I'm getting starchier. So it is time to add the rest of the asparagus. I meant parsley. Okay, fine. I do make mistakes. I'm not perfect. And we're going to wait for the liquid to evaporate. Why? Because this step is called mantecare. Mantecare in Italian or in French, they say monterbo. We add the butter and the Parmesan. Let's come over here. By the way, a risotto needs to be runny when you plate it. You do not want a clumped up risotto when you plate it, because by the time it's plated and it's served, it's gonna still absorb the liquid. And we wanna make sure when that liquid is absorbed, it is not too clumpy and starchy, otherwise you will not enjoy it. Next, we're going to start adding our butter. Sometimes you eat a risotto somewhere and the rice is just too much butter and too much cheese. The flavor of the mushroom is everywhere. It is absolutely amazing. Now, we're gonna add the seasoning. We're gonna add the white pepper. And we have this beautiful risotto to perfect doneness. See what happened to your mushrooms? They disappeared. Butter in, turn off, we are done. And we're gonna add our Parmesan. We're gonna do a toss. We're gonna add our Parmesan. And we're gonna do another toss. Come with me, everybody. Let's plate this and be amazed. See this? Look how it flows. Look at that beautiful runniness of the risotto. But I'm not done yet. We're gonna take a little bit of that Parmesan in some fresh arugula. Where is my beautiful wine? We're gonna take a little bit of that great Sangiovese as the sedati. And we're gonna take a little bit of this great extra virgin olive oil in here. We're gonna toss my salt and pepper. Who said you shouldn't serve a beautiful salad for crispiness and for freshness over your risotto? Mangia, eat, cook, love. I'll see you next week. Ciao.